Quark has 100 gross of self-sealing stem bolts sitting in Cargo Bay 11. Nog is on Ferengi visiting his grandmother. And if never keep profit, a good smile honesty. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Seventh Rule with Cirroc Lofton.
What's happening?
My name is Ryan T. Husk, and today we are doing a review of Deep Space Nine, Season 3, Episode 16, Profit Motive, directed by Mr. Rene Auberjonois. How cool is that?
Oh, really?
I think it might be his first one.
It has to be, because I don't remember this before.
And written by Ira Stephen Bear and Robert Hewitt Wolf, our good buddies. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm doing good. I didn't know that Rene directed this particular episode. It's pretty good.
Yeah. I didn't either until I saw it on IMDb, and he did the classic Avery Brooks maneuver where he's like, I only have like 3 lines in this episode. This is the one I want to direct, so I can focus on directing. So I kind of watched for that, and he just had the one scene where he's like, my uncle's brother's friend has a friend who works in the thing or whatever. Yeah.
That little scene. But I mean, it was obviously this is another Quark episode and a little bit of a ROM kind of centered episode as well. So it's good to see
kind of funny. You'd call it like a rom-com, right?
It would be a rom-com.
And let's just go ahead and say it. We had 2 NAMs today. Mr. Aron Eisenberg, our favorite human on the planet, or Ferengi, out in Ferengi. He's visiting his grandmother. And Keiko was also mentioned.
Keiko was also mentioned. She was mentioned. She was mentioned during the ribbing between Bashir and O'Brien, which I really liked that little scene.
Right. Right.
You know, O'Brien's like, people are going to ask Bashir, who the hell is he? And that kind of pissed off Bashir. So he had to get him back with so how long is Keiko going to be on Bajor?
And then he said, Bashir's like, since Keiko's been on Bajor, we've played 106 games of Racquetball. Which
Very
is,
good.
For those of you keeping statistics of Racquetball at home.
Yes.
106. I actually went back. I was like, did he say 100? Oh, 106. Glad I caught that.
It was funny because as I was watching that little scene, they were playing darts in it. And I was thinking, look at the futuristic dartboard that they came up with.
Yeah.
Which wasn't very futuristic at all.
I mean, how much can you improve the game? What can you add to it?
What can you add to darts? Yeah.
Nebulae. Nebulae. What's the plural of nebula? Is it nebulae?
I think it's nebulae.
Paging Dr. Mohammed Noor. No, that would be an Aaron McDonald question.
Yeah, I'm going to go with nebulae, final answer.
All right. I'm going to phone a friend, but I'm going to believe you. So that was cool. And I do want to also point out that a lot of fun Star Trek fans like to spell darts with an extra E in there because O'Brien calls it darts. We're going to play darts. DAERTS. So that's how I spelled it in my notes.
Now, the woman that you have in the background that was the purchaser of these self-sealing stem bolts.
Yeah.
First of all, I said the thing that jumped out at me was her hairdo. I thought her hair was like pretty immaculately done. I think woven in with leaves, or it looks like leaves.
Do you remember who did hair and makeup, or at least the hair aspect of hair and makeup on Deep Space Nine for characters like this?
Yes.
Was it like a special effects makeup thing, or was it just one hair person that would handle it?
No, I think the hair still fell under the makeup, so I think Westmore is still in charge of hair. But the hair trailer had its own. It had its own little trailer, so you went into the hair trailer, and then you went into the makeup trailer, and they were separate. So I can't tell you because I remember who did our hair. and that
Right.
was the late great Ron Smith.
Nice.
And Ron Smith was somebody who had worked with Avery in the past. They did A Man Called Hawk and Spencer for Hire in those days. So when Avery first got the gig on DS9, he brought Ron Smith along with him, who I had the pleasure of meeting. And he was an older guy and grew up during the Duke Ellington jazz days. So he was Duke Ellington's hair
Nice.
guy. And, Duke always had that slick, beautiful kind of conked hair.
Avery does strike me as the kind of guy that says, I'm bringing my hair guy with me.
Oh, yeah.
He seems like
He
that
does.
kind of guy. Yeah.
He is. He is.
And then Ron Smith the whole time was like, can I just buzz this thing yet? You guys? No. He's in Avery's like, I already asked. Not yet.
Ron was like an old school guy. Like I said, he came up from the Duke Ellington days. And by the way, he ended up passing away during the tenure of our show. And I remember very vividly Avery taking care of his medical expenses and making sure that he had his own room at Cedars Sinai Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
So he, upgraded his room. He made sure that he had a nice kind of going out of this world. And
that's beautiful.
Those are the kinds of things Avery would do for people and not talk about. You just had to know if you knew. And so yeah, that's who did the hair. And actually, Ron Smith, before he passed away, found his own replacement, which became a guy named Brian Andrews. And Brian Andrew then finished up the rest of the 3 or 4 seasons that were left. I think he did the last 3 seasons. So we had 2 hair guys, but I don't know who was in charge of that department. But this hair in this particular episode, and this woman, and I don't know what alien she's playing.
I don't either.
But I do like her. I liked how intricate it was and how it was kind of woven in with what I thought to be leaves. It looks like leaves. Yeah.
I see it there. Yeah.
So I just thought that was interesting. Yeah. And obviously hair is such a big part of the makeup and the whole overall, costume of each character, right?
So shout out to Ron Smith's family and to Avery being so loyal and to Brian, who was the other guy?
Brian Andrew. Yeah.
Brian Andrew. Got it. Also, that reminds me, not to take too much of a break from hair. Actually, we'll talk about that a little later. We'll talk more about hair next week. But
okay. Right.
We will. But yeah, I don't know what kind of alien that is. But the reason I asked a little bit more about the hair thing was because I kind of wondered, like, I feel like the aliens would go kind of more to like special alien hair effects makeup, especially, I mean, something like this is not just standard hair. Whereas people like, say, yourself or like, Nana or like Terry Farrell, for example, would go to a regular hair person, not like a visual, not like a makeup effects hair person. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, well, they're using different things. So some people are actually having wigs put on, and obviously that, means you have to have glue and all of these other factors, to lay down those wigs. Mm-hmm. And I actually had one in the Far Beyond the Stars episode where I was wearing an actual hair piece to kind of give me that conk, that relaxed hair look. So I've had that applied, but yes, the regular hair people are just making sure that there's no out of place hair,
right.
And, Odo's hair is right or Nana's hair is right without looking all crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. So Quark's getting Umox, and he says, what I had forgotten that he mentioned this before, but 100 gross of self-sealing stem bolts just sitting in Cargo Bay 11. I kind of jokingly in my notes put NAM. I was like, hey, self-sealing stem bolts get a NAM. It might be their only one.
Yeah. Yeah, it might be their only one. But it's funny how many episodes ago was it that we first talked about self-sealing stem bolts?
It was the end of the first season.
I think so, right? So
yeah,
just to show you how the writers don't let things go and kind of always are bringing back things. You know, they're really good at that, especially when we saw how they introduced the Founders and the Jemadar and the Dominion. They dropped hints very early and came back to those very same hints later on.
What episode was it? Progress, the self-sealing stem bolts? I feel like it was called.
I know it was Les Landau. So
anyway,
yeah.
I think that was episode 14 of season 1, 14 out of 19. So yeah, towards the end of the first season. But that's a pretty good callback.
It's a pretty good callback. I mean, we're talking about nearly, I guess it's just 2 seasons later, right? They were midway through the first season. Now we're midway through the 3rd season. So they literally brought something back from 2 seasons ago. Just once again, like I said, testament to the writers and how they retain the information, how they like to build foundational stories for storylines, so they're built on things that the audience can recognize.
And it must be cool for you to see something that you did getting the callback without you even knowing it. Like you weren't seen in this episode, so you probably didn't even know that they brought self-sealing stem bolts back for another episode. And then so did you, when you heard that, did you catch it right away, or did you say, did I just hear what I thought I heard?
I hope they didn't bring it back because we screwed it up so much. Maybe they put it on the board like, okay, this is the one that we're going to bring back. But clear, you know, I've never heard Armin having any problems with the pronunciation. So shout out to Armin, who really did a great job in this episode. But he did a pretty good job. I mean, he didn't have problems with the pronunciation. So
I also really like the way Rom was pronouncing things. I caught myself when an actor delivers something in a way that I would have never thought, you know, because as actors, our job is to come up with an interesting way to say things. Sometimes you just say it straight up. Other times you got to deliver it in a way that's new and interesting and not necessarily obvious when you see it on the page. And that's what makes, you know, especially character actors so unique. And Rom does that so well, Max Berdenchik. And there's certain things that he would say that I catch myself pausing it and repeating it the way he says, because it's kind of like a learning experience where I'm like, I would have never thought, you know, and that's why he's such a good comedic actor, is because he is able to say things differently in a way that we wouldn't have thought, but that works. It's funny, like when he drags out one word, you know? When he
drags out one word, he does that and he almost sings the word.
Right.
You know? I can't remember it either because I thought I wrote it down in my notes, the exact same thing that you're talking about. I thought I had wrote the line down, but it was something I think around the point where they were arguing over what the rule of acquisition was, and in a rule of acquisition number 10 about greed.
Yeah, and then Quark says, greed, there's nothing else besides greed, or there's nothing beyond greed.
Yes.
Beyond greed, there's nothing beyond greed,
no, I wrote the line down, actually, the way Rom said it. He said, no, the rule of, you know, this is Quark speaking. He says, the rule of acquisition number 10 is greed is eternal, right? And Rom's response was, not anymore.
Yeah, he'll like drag out the last word of a sentence like way longer than you would ever expect. But you're like, somehow that just works for that character. Like he creates a character that way.
He does. And I really like that. I actually did write it down in my notes. But the way he said, not anymore. And he did that, I think, another time earlier in this thing when he was being accused of stealing Quark stuff. The way he responded was, you know, also in this kind of musical stretching out of the words. I really enjoy his performance as well.
Yeah.
And we got to see him stand up a little bit in this one, too. I mean, this is now 2 times in a row that we've seen Rom standing up to Quark. And I think it all, right? Yeah, so it all hinged on, I think Rom grows a set when his son tells him he wants to join Starfleet.
A set of what?
A set of lobes. A set of
Oh,
lobes.
of course. Where did I go there? You are so right.
So he grows. He shows some courage after Nog tells him that he wants to join Starfleet, and he stands up for Nog to his brother. And that, to me, it was really the beginning of Rom's kind of identifying as himself and not just as the sidekick to Quark, right?
Right. He's definitely grown. I mean, look, he's stealing from Quark, which we normally would have thought would be against his character type for two reasons. Number one, because he's been shown to be kind of a chicken. And number two, because he doesn't have the lobes for business. And stealing from his own brother is the opposite of a chicken and the opposite of not being able to do Ferengi business. That's like going in the opposite direction. So that's cool that he's growing a set of lobes, as you said. Also, just really quickly on the subject of dragging out lines for character actors, and we're going all over the place here, but I just noticed, who else does that so well was Wallace Shawn playing Grand Nagus Zek. The funniest line I think he said, or at least the funniest delivery, and it was a great line, was when he first writes, or he first hands them the new rules of acquisition that he wrote, and he says, I mean, the line is the word that made me laugh was when he says, "I hope you like them, absorb, enjoy." I'm like, absorb, like he's just like basking, just soak it up. But the way he delivers it, he goes, absorb, enjoy. Like he dragged out the enjoy. I added all these Y's on the enjoy.
Yes.
So maybe that's a Ferengi thing. Maybe they just love to drag out fun words to hammer a point home. I don't know.
Yeah, well, it certainly adds for dramatic and comedic effect. So,
right,
those are the aspects that actually change whatever the words are on the page from just something dull and maybe just informative to something that's now entertaining and kind of spiced up. And that's the credit to what the actors bring to the table.
Yeah. That is not just acting skill, but it's acting creativity. It's almost like they are rewriting a line in a way, I mean, a director, the most a director can say is, here's the mood we're trying to convey, or give me something different, or try to hit him this way, or something like that. But it's the creativity of the character actor to turn a word into something like that.
Yeah. And I know for a fact Renee, directing this episode, did not tell Wallace Shawn to say it like that.
Can you imagine, Renee? Can you say it like enjoy?
Exactly. So that's one of the and as I was watching this episode, I was thinking to myself about Aron telling us about the readings that he would do at Armin's house.
Right.
And one of the things that came out, as far as for me, I started to question whether these scenes were rehearsed with Armin at his house, because there was such a good chemistry between Max, Armin, and Wallace. The way they went, it seems like they would have rehearsed that together.
No doubt about it. I mean, it's clear, and then that kind of stuff makes a first-time director in Renee's job easier, to where he's watching them rehearse it, set rehearsal or whatever, and he's like, thank God these guys do their homework. They probably, that way he can worry about other things. He can give them adjustments here or there, but then now he can put his mind on lighting and mood and other things, because he's like, I'm working with professionals here.
Absolutely. It makes it a lot easier. And then, the story was also interesting, because here we have the introduction of the Book of Rules of Acquisition. And I don't know if Armin wrote the Rules of Acquisition book after this. Didn't he write a actual literal book?
Yeah. I mean, I've got the little book of the Rules of Acquisition. I don't even know if that's Armin that wrote them, to be perfectly honest. I don't remember. But yeah, I mean, they've got the book. The book is out. It's
Yeah.
like a little pamphlet size thing, you know. It's like a little baby Bible for them.
And do you recall if there are 285 rules as they mentioned here in this episode?
I think there are. That's the number that I think I've heard, but I don't remember if that's just because I've looked it up or because it's in the book. When we take our break in a couple minutes, I'll see if I can pull it out. See if I can find it quickly and easily. But yeah, that was and the by the way, that's the thing I said at the beginning, which was the line, if never keep profit, a good smile, honesty. That was from when Quark was trying to piece it together. And he's like, maybe I could smell it. Let me taste it. Hold it up to the light. You know, he was trying everything.
Yeah.
That was really funny.
I thought it was a little on the exaggerated side when he started to lick the book.
What?
A little over the top, you know. But
who do you think wrote that part? Who came up with that idea? Ira or Robert Hewitt Wolf? Or do you think that was Quark saying, can I lick it? Or do you think that was Odo saying, why don't you try licking it, Quark? Or what do you think? I feel like it was in the script.
I see. I don't think it was in the script. I think it was in like an on the stage kind of decision. Either Quark, Armin brought it up and said, hey, well, you know, I'm fumbling the book. What if I do this? And Renee's like, yeah, do that. That's how I kind of see it unfolding.
All right. That's fun. Yeah, we'll have to ask Armin next time we see him if we remember. Because you're right. You could totally picture him saying, you know, this is how I rehearsed it. What do you think? And Renee's like, oh, God, that's gold. Yeah, do that.
Yeah, exactly. And it made it memorable. The other thing that I thought was funny too. I mean, we're hopping around all over the place on this one, but you know that's just how the memories come.
Right.
Quark's giggle. He did a little giggle in the beginning of this when Grand Nagus comes. He's commandeered his quarters by this point, and Quark is telling Rom, "You go talk to him, and you go tell him that he's got to find a place to stay other than my place." And Quark's hiding behind the door as the interaction happens. And then he realizes that he's in a good mood, so he makes himself known. And Grand Nagus Rom says Grand Nagus Sex says something to him like something that, you know, funny. And Quark does this really stupid, out of kind of place giggle. Like,
I feel like I missed that.
Huh. Yeah, and it was just like I put LOL on here because it just made me laugh. Because it was so fabricated. It was so like, yeah, I'm just laughing to laugh. And so he did it in this weird, like high pitched laugh that he doesn't normally use. So I laughed at that because I thought that's funny how he's just showing it. It's like a nervous kind of laugh, I guess. You know, like whatever you say, boss.
Hey, so we got to take our break in just a minute here. But before we do, two very quick things. Number one is those of you at home, we are dangerously, shockingly close to 10,000 subscribers. In fact, by the time you see this, we may have already gone over. But please, if you'd like to support our show, if you enjoy what we do, or if you just want to support somebody for free, say, hey, we want more Star Trek stuff out there. It's free. Just click subscribe, click the bell icon. You help us tremendously, and it costs you nothing. It costs you like a second of your time. And the other thing is, shout out to Casey Shafsky, our good friend, Mr. Casey Shafsky, who worked on Star Trek Continues, because a few days ago when there was, or maybe a week ago, when I think it was TrekCore.com was saying they were ready for Lower Decks to show up, they had a bunch of toys out, like watching the screen, like, and one of them looked like this. You just saw the back, you know, they were watching the screen. And I made a comment saying, you know, like any Star Trek nerd would say, I was like, whoa, that must be Lieutenant Picard from Tapestry. That's awesome. I had no idea they'd have a toy like that, right? That's really cool. And of course it is, Will. It's me from Tapestry. and so the next day, Casey Shafsky shows me a screenshot where he found the toy online and had it mailed to me. And so shout out to Casey Shafsky for just being a cool guy. And now I have a Captain Picard or a Lieutenant Picard toy. Dude, it's a great episode. You got, I can't wait for you to see it. It's called Tapestry. It's one of my favorite Next Generation episodes. Anyway.
Is that a mirror universe thing, or is that just a normal?
Kind of. It's a Q thing. Q always messes with things. You know how he does.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, so we will talk more about everything on the other side. We'll be right back on the Seventh Rule. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Seventh Rule with Cirroc Lofton.
Hello, hello.
And the Ferengi rules of acquisition. So, to answer your question, you are correct. It's by Quark and Ira Steven Behr.
Yes.
It is funny that it says by Quark and not by Armin Shimmerman.
Exactly.
He's like, "Can I put my name on?" Ira's like, "No, you're Quark. Just be Quark."
You can put Quark's name on
there. Okay, but here it is. I knew it was going to be somewhere. Right there, it says, Quark would like to thank Armin Shimmerman for reasons of a personal nature.
That's great.
So there we are.
Nice.
And then this whole chunk is who Ira would like to thank. Ira thanks all this. Quark thanks Armin. Love it. It's brilliant.
Oh, that's great. So yeah, in that book, I guess, and that my guess is that the rules of acquisition that showed up in this particular episode are also in that book, but in reverse.
Right. They definitely changed them up. Like the new ones that Grand Nagus Zek wrote, the reason it's funny is because they're basically a parody of the old ones. Rather than, once you have their money, never give it back. And then the new rule was like, once you have their money, always give it back or whatever.
Yeah, if they want their money back, give it to them.
Yeah, give it to them. What's the big deal?
You do that voice pretty great. That's actually shocking.
Well, he's such like a specific sound, like that's what's cool about character actors is that they create a way of speaking, whether it's a certain speech or a delivery or a tone, and that's what makes it easy to imitate. Like, how do you imitate Jadzia Dax? Yeah. I wouldn't even be able to because she's not a character actor. She delivers them as a person, Right. And whereas somebody like even Odo kind of character actor, we do our impressions of it. And Wallace Shawn, unbelievably, he like creates and when somebody's doing an impression of him, it's an impression of him and nobody else,
Yeah, and his voice is got that high pitched nasally sound that it's just unrecognizable. I mean, it's just you can't forget it,
It's his Sicilian. It's his Sicilian roots.
And I always think of every time he talks and I see him, you can't not think of the movie Princess Bride.
That's what I was referencing when I said the Sicilian. He goes, "That was Sicilian."
Yeah, with Andre the Giant. What an excellent movie. Mm-hmm. And he was excellent in that as well. So
shout out to Andre the Giant. My favorite line in the movie is, "I only dog paddle." And then you've got Mandy Patinkin, who's also in Homeland. Incredible actor. Holy moly. I had no idea that was the same guy.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, a lot of good actors out there.
Yeah, I actually wanted to talk a little bit about the B storyline in this one, which was the Carrington Award for Bashir. And it was okay. It was okay. It seemed like it was, just kind of a filler for space, not so much of like, critical to any kind of story arc or character arc.
Well, that reminds me very quickly. Because one of the things that I almost said at the beginning was in reference to the Carrington Award, and that reminds me that we totally neglected our cutting room floor. So here they come, fast and furious. Quark has 100 gross of self-sealing stem bolts sitting in Cargo Bay 11. Quark ordered Saurian brandy. We just like hearing things that we hear in different episodes. Saurian brandy is one of them. Bashir gets nominated for the Federation's Carrington Award. Nog is on Ferengi visiting his grandmother. Here's a good one. Nog's favorite beverage is Trixian bubble juice. That's, you know what, I wanted to use that one at the top instead of the other one because that one's more fun. Then the quote from the "If never keep profit, a good smile, honesty." Since Keiko's been on Bajor, or as Picard calls it, Bajor, we've played 106 games of racquetball, and a French guy wins the Federation's Carrington Award. Dr. Henri Roger. I was like, that's right. And then I wanted to know where he came
That's only because Renee was directing this episode.
You're right. He changed the script. He's like, we're going to change it to be
the French guy.
Henri. Yeah.
Where did you say where he came from? You were looking to find out?
Yeah. I actually went back when he won, and I only kind of caught it down. I was like, oh, that's a French dude. Henri Roger. And so I went back to the beginning to find out where he was from. And it was from, where did I put it in my notes? But it wasn't they didn't give us an actual like place, like an actual city or country. You know, they just said of Central Medical Center or something like that.
Okay.
You know. Oh yeah. Dr. Henri Roger of the Central Hospital of Altair 4. So it wasn't even on Earth. So I was like, well, French name. That's about it.
That's it. Yeah. He wasn't in Montpellier when he got his award.
Good knowledge. College town in the south of France. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I know a little bit about it.
Beautiful.
It is, huh? I've never been there, but.
Oh, I love it. I used to always, because my family's in the south in Marseille, and in the very southern tip called Perpignan, which is like 20 minutes from Spain. And so I would take the train, you know, from Montpellier or from Marseille to Perpignan, and kind of one of the stops in between is Montpellier, and they have little castles and things like that. It's so pretty. It's really nice. So yeah.
Oh, that's bad. Yeah, my cousin went there. That's where he went to university and studied.
No way.
Yeah, so that's why I know about it.
The one that's a scientist on the East Coast?
Yeah.
What's his name?
His name is Andanet Alemu, Dr. Andanet Alemu.
Right.
Yeah. We call him Imush. That's our family name for him. But
Imush?
Imush, yeah. But his real name is Dr. Andanet Alemu. But so he grew up in Ethiopia, but he went to university there and, you know, speaks French fluently and all of those.
That's amazing. I'd love to have him on the show, man. It'd be great to have him on one of these science episodes.
He would be great. And he actually has a little bit of knowledge because he was my guardian during the first season of the show. So he actually has to be visiting us and staying with us. So he might be a good guest one of these days to come in and talk about his science knowledge.
We'll
got to get
him
and Mohammed Noor on the same time so they can.
Wow.
So we cannot understand what they're talking about.
We could just sit back with some popcorn and be like, you guys educate us. We're going to hang out over here and try to catch like 20% of what you say.
I drew some pictures here, but first I want to talk about the Ferengi Benevolent Association, the FBA.
Yeah.
It's a derivative of the FBI, but they're a lot.
I was thinking of the NDA.
Oh, you think of the NBA? I was thinking of the FBI. It's the FBA. But no, I like the orb in there, so I did a little orb action. See my little Bajoran orb, and then I fictitiously made the Tower of Commerce that they would get thrown off of.
Wow, those are both great. I love it. That's when Rom goes, well, if we fall off the edge of the tower, we could. We could. Or whatever he said. I don't remember if it was would, or could. But
yeah. Yeah, I did. I like the orb action. And it was funny because, you know, one of the things that's really played at this episode is Quark negotiating with the founders, right? With the prophets, with the Bajoran prophets. So he's literally negotiating with these aliens that we saw from the beginning of the show, from the first episode, and he's telling them how annoying his people are. So
Yeah.
you like leave us alone, otherwise we're going to keep coming back and annoying the hell out of you.
We're an inquisitive people. Nosy.
Yeah. And I thought that was a great argument just for the fact that he was able to kind of, use his own, what they would call corporeal knowledge or linear,
Mhm.
the linear knowledge. Even his own rationale was enough. Nana says in that thing, like, gosh, talking to you is so, what does she say? Something like
Exhausting
conversation.
or something.
Yeah,
Conversation.
conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Like
didn't write it down.
basically shut the hell up.
Yeah, she's like, dude, can we just get rid of these guys? This conversation is exhausting.
Yeah, something to that effect. They also referred to my dad as the Sisko in this. The Sisko. Did you talk to the Sisko? Did the Sisko send you? And I thought that was interesting that he has the in front of his name.
Mm-hmm. One
Just call it.
one interesting tidbit too. It's kind of unrelated, but just it doesn't bear too much talking about. Was My Hardu. This is the episode that we find out. I already forgot what kind of character he is. Hyperion. As they said that Hyperions are not mute; they just can only talk to the masters or something like that. I was like, oh, see, that whole time I always kind of thought that they were mute because they never speak. Behind, the tall dude that come with the Ferengi, they never talk, but I guess they can talk. They're just sworn to only talk to other people. Anyway, I just like it when they give us a little more insight into all of the vast and varied races of the Federation or the
What's
Ferengi
the name of
Alliance.
that character?
Hyperion, I believe.
Hyperion. Yeah, his name is the Mardu.
My Hardu.
My Hardu.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote down early on what is the name of the alien, and then I think eventually they ended up saying it.
Yeah, they said it later.
And he's actually great because he stole the scene a couple of times. Shout out to the actor that played this guy.
Tiny
But
Ron.
one of the times where he stole the scene was right at the after they were reading the book handed to them by Grand Nagus, and they realized how terrible it was. They kind of look over, and the camera pans over to him, kind of in the corner, whimpering, and you know, so he does like a great job of like stealing the scene and the thunder of that scene at that moment. And he does another kind of similar thing where, with just his facial expressions, without saying any words, makes himself very known in the on camera, which I thought is great.
There was a third moment I liked of his, and this is a shout out to the writers, our buddies Robert and Ira, when Quark is talking to the wormhole aliens. My Hardu is there, and he's talking. He's like, "You got to worry about the wormhole aliens." I don't know what the hell he said, but I was like, "Whoa, my Hardu is talking!" But that's because he's one of them. And I was like, "What a smart and cool way to hook up the actor, giving him lines." Because otherwise he never has lines. He just he's just doing these things, or and they gave him like full on lines. And then, of course, I couldn't help but think, I was like, how cool would it have been? No spoilers, but this doesn't happen in all 7 seasons. How cool would it have been if one of the times the Sisko goes to the wormhole aliens and talks to the prophets, one of the people that's there talking to him is Morn. And so we actually see Morn, the Lurian, going, I think that you guys are too linear. Whatever.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome, but no such
It's a
luck.
great way to slide in lines for people that don't get a chance to talk. Which I have to agree, that was very clever for them to include him in that scene with with these prophets. They also included, I thought, was the woman that's behind you that was rubbing Quark's ears. I thought they did include her. Yeah, so they brought the guest stars in and let them have more to do, and I thought that's another great thing.
Yeah, I love that. I think that they kind of, because what they do is they make it the characters that are most relevant to that character that's in it. So if when the Sisko is in there, then you're going to be there. Nana, Odo, and them. Say if Nog had ever gone, it would be you and Quark and Rom. Maybe Keiko, something like that. But since it was Quark, it was all the characters that were relevant kind of to that episode.
You know, one thing that I wish they had done, and in this particular episode, was give us some kind of lesson that Quark learns. I don't feel like he really learned a lesson. He definitely saved the day and got Grand Nagus restored back to himself. But I thought there was an opportunity there when he was visiting with the prophets, when he was experiencing these visions from the orb, to let him kind of reflect on his own actions in some way, where he learned a lesson. Maybe not being so hard on Rom because he's stealing stuff from you. Something that he could have walked away, changed in a slight way, where he's like, maybe showing him his own life, kind of like the Ghost of Christmas Past type of thing. But there was some way that they could have made Quark go through a realization process.
That's one of the best observations I've heard in a long time. I think you're totally right. I didn't even notice that, but now that you mention it, you're absolutely right. And I feel like Robert and Ira would love that comment too. Whether they'd agree or not, I don't know. I feel like they would, because they're usually pretty critical of their own works and very self-aware. But so as you were saying that, first I was hit with, holy shit, that's a great point. He's right. Then I started thinking, well, was there a minor change? Like something, sometimes everything goes back to normal, but with a minor change. And I don't think there's even a minor one. I think you're right. I think just a slight lesson, like you say, a slight thing, because really what it was Quark stayed the same and the wormhole aliens changed. They're the ones who had the arc.
Right.
They're the ones who had the change where they're like, okay, you know what? You win, you're right, we're wrong, we move on. And Quark's like, all right, back to normal, You're right.
Exactly.
That's so true. That's very much like 80s sitcom, where after 22 minutes, everything goes right back to how it was. Whereas Star Trek, usually things kind of go back to normal, but with a lesson learned or with something to think about,
Yeah, and I think particularly with the woman that he was doing the deal with in the beginning, I sensed that she was very good-natured. She's rubbing his ears. Seemed like she was being honest and forthright. And Quark could have, for example, made a better deal to offer her in the end. So, you know what? I think 10 gold bars of platinum is too much. I'll sell it to you for 5.
Right. But then they would have had to change that part where, the punchline where Grand Nagus so it says like, I told her where to get it for wholesale. It's a great deal.
Yes, but something to that effect. That's what I mean.
No, you're right. I completely agree. I think that's an A+ observation that I hadn't even thought of. I think you're right.
Yeah, because like you said, the only thing that changes in this is the actual mentality of the wormhole aliens.
Of the other side.
The other side, right? Who is like so far advanced for them to find any evolution in thought from Quark's monologue, for them to say, all right, you know what? Let's change our protocol. And it's really a kind of a first contact type of episode, right? This is dealing with the issues of first contact, not
first contact for the Ferengi and the wormhole alien. That's true. Right. This was their second contact officially, right?
But essentially, it deals with the idea of not disturbing somebody's already existing, situation. It's like when you time travel, you don't go back in time and mess things up, because if you do, you're screwing up the whole future.
Tell that to Marty McFly.
So yeah, I just feel like that there was an opportunity there for him to have some kind of growth or some lesson that changed his perspective slightly.
Yeah, that's very true. Like a prime directive that the wormhole aliens can start to follow, because they maybe they learned their lesson from the Ferengi. They're like, geez, maybe we need to leave these corporeal linear beings alone, because we just do not get them. We thought we were helping, but now these guys are gonna be bugging us forever. Forget it. You guys are on your own.
Right. That's absolutely kind of what I was thinking. I did like the Grand Negus's line though. He had one line that I thought was kind of hilarious at the end, and he tells Quark to be careful because I got the dampening field on this ship for a substantial discount.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That does
Yeah.
remind me though. I would have loved it if you drew. I love your drawings, and everybody does. I would love it if you did a drawing of the Beatles snuff. Like, 'cause I want to see what this. I want to see a big wrinkly nose and some Beatles snuff, whatever that is.
Some Beatles snuff. Yeah, when I think of Beatles snuff, I don't know. It just makes me think of Scarface sitting on a table.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to play some games, huh?
Anyway, sorry,
Yeah.
I don't know if you had more to say about Zek, but it did remind me of that.
No, not really more to say. I just, it's one of those episodes that's placed in there because it obviously doesn't affect the larger things that are in play with DS9. We're not, they're not talking, we're still not into the Dominion Wars yet. We're still not into the overarching things that have been happening. So this is just one of those episodes that's really nicely placed. I would have liked a little bit more explanation or / reaction from the Bajorans who now have their lost orb returned to them.
Right.
Right. There would be. I would
maybe
feel like
future episodes.
Yeah, I feel like there would be something involved with that.
Now, since we only have a few minutes left, let me see if there was also another line that I thought was really good, or another grouping of lines, and this is kudos to the writers. When Quark says to Rom, "I've got a plan," and Rom goes, "Does it involve me?" He goes, "Not really." He goes, "I like it." Like, that's so brilliant. He's like, "Great, yeah. I could," because I don't know, man, I can't do it. But it did seem, and the wormhole aliens did give their position on what they think of the Ferengi. It wasn't just that they thought they were helping the Ferengi to be better at business, but also that they think so poorly of it. Like, the quote was, and I don't remember which wormhole alien said it. It might have been Kira, but she says, "We could not comprehend how any species could lead such a barren existence. Like where all you care about is money. How could you do that?" So that's what they're saying. They thought they were helping, and Quark's like, "No, we're happy this way. We're good."
He's like, "It's not so bad."
Yeah, that's what that was. He goes, "It has its advantages."
Yeah. Yeah, and speaking of the lines, I also like Quark's little rampage where he says, "Beyond greed, there's nothing beyond greed." Like when they're having that greed, and then he goes on to say it's the most pure, most noble of emotions.
Noble, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, wow, this is really over the top. But I actually like Odo's line, and it was very brief, but he has a little moment with Bashir, and we don't really get to see Odo and Bashir too many times. So the limited times that we do, we kind of get a gauge on where their relationship is at that point. And in this particular one, we see Odo taking interest in Bashir's feelings and how he's processing his emotions, right?
Right.
And I think Odo says to him, essentially, "Why have you been working on your acceptance speech then? If you don't care about it, then,
Yeah, calling him out there. He's like, "Oh yeah, I don't even go there. Why are you working on your acceptance speech?"
Yeah.
I can't say the line, but he did it well. And he's like, "Well, how'd you know?" He said, "No, I just guessed."
Which was great, and I like that. It's a small moment, but it just shows kind of a camaraderie and a level of concern / friendship that exists between the two of them. So I like that. I also feel like that Bashir at some point would have recognized that Grand Negus Zek something was wrong with him because he gave him a bar of cold latinum. I thought that at that moment he was going to take that bar and say, "All right, let me sit down again. Sit back down. Something's definitely wrong with you." Right?
Right. So it looks like we are just about out of time. This was a fun one, though. I really liked it. I like the episodes where we learn more about races and characters and cultures and things like that. You're going to ask me something?
Yeah, what was the rating on this one?
That's where we're going. What's your guess? Here we go. Jake Sisko guesses the IMDb rating. Look at that. If we had more money, we'd be like, whoa, we'd just explosions.
I'm going to guess this was a 7, maybe even a couple of points below a 7. 6.8. 6.8 to 7.
Wow, just average that out, and you're right, 6.9. Nailed it.
Nailed that one. Yeah,
it's
about right. Yeah, it's about right. Like I said, because nobody really walks away having changed the story. It's like back to, I'm sure next episode it's back to usual at DS9.
Right. So just chill to the next episode.
Exactly.
Is what Cirroc is trying to say.
That's what I'm saying in English, translated to Ebonics. Very well.
Translated into 1993.
Yeah, it's hip hop. So just chill to the next episode.
Yeah, I love it. Anyway, all right, so we got to run, guys. Please stay tuned for the free-for-all. And thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for subscribing. And we'll see you on the other side on the 7th rule. But first, I forgot to say special thanks to Carmen Shamwell, PJ Tomas, TJ, Jackson-Bey, Bill Victor Arucan, Yvette Blackmon, Dennis Koch, Homer Frizzell, Eve England out in Wales, Dr. Marie Segal, Titus Mohler, and Mr. Tim Baum. We'll see you on the other side on the 7th rule.
Cool.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the 7th rule with Cirroc, Lofton. Also,
hello.
Commander Homer Frizzell. Tim Baum out in Switzerland.
Close.
TJ Jackson-Bey out in Missouri. And Malissa Longo somewhere in Southern California.
Nice.
So, here's a fun thing. On the topic of the Ferengi rules of acquisition, let's play a game we just invented about 12 seconds ago called Finish the Ferengi Rule of Acquisition. I'm going to read the first half of a rule of acquisition, and you guys have to say or guess. Ooh, I've got a fortune cookie thing in here.
Oh.
Does it say?
What does that say?
This will be a dumb game. Let me see. Everything will now come your way. Boy,
oh wow.
Boy.
All right.
I don't know how long ago I put this in here, but I don't know if it all came my way yet. All right, so we'll start with Homer.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
you got this, Homer.
You got this.
Ferengi rule of acquisition number 60. Keep your lies blank.
Keep your lies consistent.
Whoa, big win. Look at this.
Wow.
Wow.
Is that a good thing that he knows that, or is that a bad thing that he knows?
I think it's awesome.
Wow. Yeah, that's impressive.
That is pretty amazing.
It just made sense from a Ferengi point of view.
Wow,
Another thing
really
fell out of it. This thing right here just fell out of the book.
A credit card?
No, it's the Star Trek Tour 2008. I think that was...
Keep shaking it.
Yeah. You have any gold bars of platinum in there?
Yeah. So if anybody went to the Star Trek Tour of 2008, I think that was the one that went toured around the country. It was kind of like a museum of like props and things like that. It stopped at Long Beach down when we visited it. Anyway, okay. This one has Grand Negus Zek on the picture. Tim Baum.
Uh-oh.
Finish the rule of acquisition. Win or lose, there's always what?
Profit.
I'll give you a hint. Cirroc and I discussed this earlier in the recording that you didn't see.
Very good.
Win or lose, there's always... Oh, I have no idea.
Hyperion beetle snuff.
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
That was a
Come
toughie.
on, Tim.
That was a toughie.
You're supposed to
Okay.
get that one.
No brainer.
Didn't have time to Google it.
Okay, here we go. TJ Jackson-Bey.
All
Rule of
right.
acquisition number 104 says, faith moves mountains, ... of blank.
Latinum.
Close. Inventory.
Ah.
Inventory. Melissa hated that one. Frowned at you. Okay.
I don't like the inventory.
Melissa.
I like the way you repeat it over like
Yeah.
you're Alex Trebek, like
I feel like I'm doing an impression, but I don't know who the impression is of. But I
it's
feel like I'm
Trebek.
doing.
It's definitely
Is
Trebek. I
Okay.
think so.
Well,
Shout out
I
to
need to
Trebek
change my
for
answer, and I
beating-
should say, what is Latinum?
Right. Shout
You
out
could
to
do
Alex Trebek for beating stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Right? Is that
Oh, yeah.
incredulous or what? Wow.
Oh,
Brian, you could do it in, as Zek.
Oh yes, the voice.
Mike, I got a
yeah.
sort, but my voice isn't very good. As you saw earlier, I couldn't do "Eternal Flame" by the Bengals. Okay. Oh, we know this one. Okay, Melissa, this is an easy one.
Okay.
Rule of acquisition number 109. Dignity and an empty sack is worth blank.
Empty sack.
Is worth
Yeah.
the sack. That's right.
Yes.
Yes, yes,
Oh.
That was a good Zek.
yes.
Yeah. All right, Cirroc. This is it. This is your lucky number, by the way.
Okay.
Number 117, rule of acquisition. You
What's my lucky
can't.
number?
You that was your jersey number, right? 117.
Yes, yes, I remember that.
You can't free a fish from blank.
From water?
Ah, from water. That's
Is that
correct.
it?
That is it.
Yeah, I think I've heard that one though. I think we've heard that one. You got to give Timothy another chance, man.
Oh yeah,
Hyperion beetle snuff.
we're doing
Come
2
on.
rounds of this. We got to do 2
Yeah.
rounds. This is too much fun, man. I'm having
That's
way
not
too much.
fair.
Okay, my turn. Rule of acquisition number.
Your turn. Yeah, your turn. Yeah, I've got one for you. Hold on. Where's
Yeah.
that? Oh,
I'm scared.
well, it's somewhere here. Okay, never mind. I don't have one for you.
I do. What's the 34th rule of acquisition?
Mm.
I'll give you the end of it. Is
Okay.
good for business.
War.
Oh,
And the 35th is peace is good for business.
yeah.
All right, I'm in the running. Here we go.
There you go.
All right, Homer, here we go. Rule of acquisition number 40. She can touch your lobes, but never your blank.
Bank account.
Latinum is the answer, as
It's
Melissa well
close.
knows.
It's close.
Okay. Tim Baum out in the Serengeti. I just pulled up number 35. Okay. Rule of acquisition number 16. A deal is a deal unless what?
It's not a deal. Hyperion beetle snuff.
Contract.
Unless a better one comes along.
Oh,
Okay.
I know there's another one that says a deal is a deal is a deal, but only with other Ferengi.
Yeah, there's something like that. I remember. Okay, TJ Jackson-Bey. Here we go. Number 18. A Ferengi without profit is what?
There's no Ferengi at all.
Oh, word for word, verbatim.
Yeah, he knows that.
All right.
Yeah.
Why is
Instead of Starfleet officer, yeah.
this is so damn fun for me? Okay, Melissa. Rule of acquisition number 82. The flimsier the product, the higher blank.
I don't know. The higher the profit? I don't know.
Judges, are we going to accept that? The higher the price.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll accept it.
Yeah, I accept that.
All
I
right.
accept that.
Yeah, and I'm accepting Homer's bank account answer.
Yes.
All right.
Ah.
All right. I love it.
Just
Oh.
been approved.
Okay, Cirroc. Oh wait, there was another thing. Oh, guitar pick just fell out.
There you go. Right.
You're right. It just keeps on the gift that keeps on
What the
giving.
hell's in this book?
It's
I
the
didn't
book of holding.
It is. This is a holy book. No wonder they love. Something else just fell out. What is it?
How many
my.
things could you possibly store in this book?
It's like a TARDIS. I mean,
Pockets.
This thing is amazing. The first thing that falls out is a fortune, a Chinese fortune cookie fortune. Then
That
a
things are coming to you.
magic
Yeah.
card. Yeah, things are coming.
coming.
Those are all the things that are coming your way. Yes.
And a guitar pick. What are 3 things that have never been in my kitchen? Okay. All right. There's a fourth.
Wait till the guitar falls out.
A refrigerator.
and then Santana. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cirroc. Rule of acquisition number 121 states, everything is for sale, even blank.
Everything is for sale.
Comma, even
love?
close,
Or-
very close, friendship.
Oh,
Ah.
Oh, I'd allow that one.
Yeah, what do you guys
Yeah.
think? That's pretty
Yeah.
solid.
Oh,
Okay.
friendship. Okay.
How
All
many
right, this
points-
one's for you. This for you,
Okay.
Ryan.
All right, I'm ready.
This was from an episode we just reviewed, which was the profit motive episode.
So if
So
I get
it's
it
the-
wrong, it's really bad.
Right. And it's not a rule of acquisition, it's the anti-rules of acquisition. It's
Nice.
one of
Oh, wow. Okay. So that's not even going to be in my notes. Okay, I'm ready.
yes.
Wait, I got to get my lucky guitar pick.
Here it is. Rule number 23. Money can never replace blank.
Rule number 23. Money can never replace friendship.
No, we've got the answer as dignity. Dignity.
Good. Okay. No, that was a good one. That definitely works with the theme of the episode. That's for sure. Okay.
Yeah. It's
So-
an anti rule.
So who made the finals? Is it Homer and Malissa?
Homer, definitely.
I know Homer did. He got
Both right.
he got him
right.
right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Malissa, did you get both right, or did you miss the second one?
Well, you gave it to me. But
Okay.
All right. So
Okay. So this is the oh man. Oh,
I feel like you missed a little too
Homer
much.
nailed it, so.
you have. I'm toning it down right now too. This is,
Oh,
and as soon as Cirroc said playoffs, my heart rate jumped even more. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Keyword.
Homer.
yes.
Rule of finish the rule of acquisition. Number 189. Let others keep their reputation. You keep their blank.
I'm going to go with Latinum.
Judges, the answer is money.
Oh, well, yeah,
Yeah.
that's money.
Yeah.
That's got to go.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, that's money.
I think so, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
Malissa, the pressure's on. If you get this wrong, you're going to let Homer walk out with, I don't know, dignity
guitar
or something.
Your guitar pick. Yeah. No.
Yeah, I'll go shake a book around here somewhere.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Malissa, to drag this into a double overtime.
Okay.
Rule of acquisition number 214. Never begin a negotiation on an empty blank.
Stomach.
Judges, what do you think? The answer is stomach.
I like that answer.
All right.
Oh wow, yeah. I think that passes.
Okay, here we go. Homer, rule of acquisition number 242. More is good. All is blank.
Better.
Correct. Malissa, number 255.
Tim Baum is like, and I got the Beatles snuff.
I know.
question."
You got the
No,
two
right?
hardest ones.
He's like, "What the hell?"
Okay, Malissa.
Uh,
Rule of acquisition number 255, as you well remember, is a wife is a luxury. A smart accountant, a blank. A wife is a luxury.
Mhm.
A smart accountant is a blank.
Necessity?
Ladies and gentlemen, it says necessity.
yeah.
All right, Cirroc, let's cancel our 3 o'clock.
You don't have any Beatles snuff questions?
That's
Why is
something I'll
it-
never forget
is
for the
it
rest of my
Tim's-
life.
Okay.
Nothing to
Okay.
stump anyone with?
These are getting easier. You're right. Okay, Homer, rule of acquisition number 21. Never place friendship above blank.
Profit.
Correct. Malissa, rule of acquisition number 22. A wise man can hear profit in the blank.
Wind.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Wait, yes. Why is they can hear profit? In
Oh,
God.
Melissa's all pretending like she didn't already have a leg up. Let's not forget who she knew very well for a very long time. Okay.
oh yeah, we stayed up nights.
Yeah, yeah.
Studying.
With acquisition.
All right,
Number
Homer.
45.
Send us home with this one, Homer. There is no honor in blank. Oh, sorry. Rule of acquisition number 106.
Oh, that
There
helps.
is no honor in blank.
There is no honor in charity.
I don't think that's going to work. Judges, it's poverty.
Oh, yeah, that
Mm.
doesn't work.
Nope.
All right, Melissa, this is it. Send us
Got this.
home. Send us home.
Is that the prices? Is that the Price is Right?
Yes.
Let down song.
Bum, bum,
Womp,
bum.
womp,
Brr. Okay. Rule of acquisition number 62, Melissa Longo. For all the marbles and bragging rights. The riskier the road, the greater the...
Reward.
It's profit. I don't know, judges. Bum, 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 bum.
I'm on the fence with that one.
If you want to talk about something else, I'm willing to allow that.
I think Homer just forfeited his first place. I think he just.
Are we really going to go without a winner?
Melissa wins.
Melissa,
Reward,
you win?
profit, I guess.
All right,
Melissa-
how about this one?
I
Find a
vote
different
for Melissa.
one and have them both give their answer to the same question, and whoever's closest.
Okay, got it. Rule of acquisition number 7, keep your ears blank.
Oh, God.
No, okay. How about rule of acquisition number 6? So this will be a longer answer, so it'll be harder. Never
Okay.
allow family to stand in the blank. Never allow family to stand in the what?
The way of profit.
Homer, what do you say?
Never allow family to stand in the way of a profitable deal in which you could make a lot of latinum.
So you guys both said profit? Yeah. It's in the way of opportunity.
womp, womp, womp.
Oh,
What's going on here? Okay.
Rule number 281. We got to start calling out numbers. 281. What's 281? Is there a 281?
No, not in this book.
Nope. Mine.
Okay, how about this one? Okay, 284. Deep down, everyone blank.
Okay.
Deep down, everyone what?
Is this for everybody? Because
That's for Homer and Malissa. Anytime.
Dun, 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 dun.
I'll take a guess. Deep down, everyone wants to deal with you.
Okay, good one. Malissa?
Deep down, everyone wants profit.
Correct. No, it's deep down, everyone's a Ferengi.
Oh.
I actually remembered that one.
That was for Tim. You could have given that one. That was perfect.
Cirroc, how do we...
Deep down, everyone's a Ferengi.
Tim's the winner.
Okay,
How
two
about
winners.
a Kai-Bai bow game. Rock, paper, scissors.
Two winners?
Yeah, two winners. Two winners.
We're all
One of you
winners
gets
here.
a guitar pick, and one of you gets a fortune cookie.
Yeah, fortune.
The fortune cookie.
The fortune from the fortune cookie. You can't have the cookie.
Yeah. I used to always use this kind of guitar pick. I had a whole bunch of these guys. They're flimsier. I liked them flimsy because I was a rhythm guitarist. Anyway, that was fun.
Obviously, you haven't opened that book up since 2008.
That's
about
gotta
right.
be it. Yeah. I mean, no, I probably have. I mean, well, you never know.
Hey, Homer, earlier you showed us a few things before we were rolling, and I would love for you to show us some of the new things that you got.
Please.
Okay. So I may lose my headset, but I'm going to do this. On the 7th Rule Shop, you can get masks now. We're going to adjust it.
Nice.
Whoop.
Nice.
So you see, voila. And you may want to pull it down just a little bit there. So then you have the radio going on doing its thing.
Four eyes.
It's also available in purple.
That's nice.
Voila.
Oh, cool.
Oh, I like the purple. The purple and gold. Yeah.
And then
have you had a chance to wear them out yet, or?
I wore one of them out, and my friend said, "What is that? Is that a Ferengi?" I said, "Yes." It's like, what's the radio tower doing there? I said, "Well, it's for the podcast." Oh, right. So, yes.
So check that out. We'll include that in the description below. That's the 7th Rule Teespring online store. You can get all kinds of goodies there. And also, Homer, yes?
Yeah, also from Abyssinian Kiosk. And I'm not going to put this one on just because it definitely will knock out my ear pieces, whatever. But it's a gator. And so it's like that. Usually I would wear it so I could see kind of like that there. And if you wanted to, Cirroc, I've seen you sometimes sport like a scarf, so you could also have it hanging out down there like that.
Nice.
The Sisko kid.
Yeah.
Sisko kid. And I don't think she's actually added them to the shop yet. And then there's another one where I asked her if she could make something that was reminiscent of a bus seat. So she went and did one in purple and black and blue, and my wife stole that one, so I have another one coming out.
Nice. So that is, everybody at home, that is Cirroc's sister that does the website and creates all of the stuff and makes all the designs. They're really cool. It's called Abyssinian Kiosk. Check it out, abyssiniankiosk.com. We'll include that in the description box below as well. What's cool about it, I was looking at the website again just a few days ago because I like to kind of just look around, see what's in there. We all love the Star Trek stuff, but there's so much cool stuff that's not Star Trek related, and it's all very African and maybe a little bit more specifically North African kind of influenced, you know, like it's really cool, the colors and the design. So check it out, abyssiniankiosk.com.
Yeah, a lot of Ethiopian crosses.
Absolutely, yeah, she does love that. And Ethiopia has a lot of like cross designs that they've had over the centuries. So just like the Celtic crosses and all these other kinds of crosses.
Yeah, and separately, I do have something in the mail from Malissa, and so there'll be a show and tell once I actually receive them. I understand that they're on the way.
Nice.
We have so many talented people. That's right. So Malissa Longo down below here, her website is Walking Art Made by Malissa. We'll have that in the comments below. Sorry, the description box below as well. And that is really good stuff. You can get shirts and noggins and kittens, all kinds of things. And she pokes holes in the boxes.
No, not actual kittens. Okay. All right.
Don't make kittens.
Okay. And those things that go around your neck and cover your face, those are called gaiters? Is that the name?
Yep.
I'd never heard that before.
I hadn't either. When I was emailing her, she said, we're not able to actually personalize or customize the mask because it wasn't going to look right with the Delta. So she said, how about a gator? I was like, okay. So now I have a gator.
You got
Meanwhile, TJ's pissed that out of 3 stores, nobody's mentioned custom-made fezzes.
You got to earn those, man. They don't give them.
Yeah.
You got to earn.
I mean, for me, I can either get the red or the red.
Exactly.
Well, I guess we better go. Sorry, I took up all of our time playing my fun Ferengi game, and I could play that for another hour. But we better not. Thanks for joining us, guys. We do have to run. Commander Homer Frizzell, Tim Baum.
Either way. The German pronunciation is Baum. The American is Baum.
Sorry.
Bomb.
TJ,
You're the bomb.
Jackson-Bey.
You're the bomb to me.
Yeah.
Was that Ryan?
Sorry,
That's how he feels about that one. And of course,
is.
Malissa Longo, Cirroc Lofton, the superstar. Special thanks to Mr. Aron Eisenberg, always looking over us and keeping us going. And thank you to Russ Hasledge as well over at Odyssey Radio. We'll catch you next time. Always remember the 7th rule.